just for me. City of stars, there's so much that I can see. Who knows? I felt it from the first embrace I shared with you. That now our dreams may finally come true.
Welcome to the Red Brick Rubicon, a PolyU podcast hosted by the ELC. I'm your host today, Mary, a Year 3 student in product design. And today, in the Love's Shadow Studio, we're going to dive deeper into campus love. So, to start with some statistics, based on our survey, we found out that 73% of respondents said that they were single, but they had more than half of them had gone on dates before at PolyU. Regardless of dating experience, 74% of them think it's good for undergraduate students to date. So, to help us dive deeper into the dating scene, we have here our panel of guests. So, welcome, Dora, Kate, and Cyres.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
All right, so introduce yourself and describe briefly your dating experience so far at PolyU.
So, hi y'all. My name is Dora. I'm a second year in physics and AI at PolyU. I come from Turkey. I would summarize my dating life here as pretty disappointing. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Kate. I'm a year 3 student in management with a secondary major in ADA. And so far, I don't have any experience in dating in PolyU, but I do have strong opinions on this.
Thank you for having us. My name is Cyres. I'm from Singapore. I'm a year 3 student studying language science and AI. I would describe my PolyU dating life as somewhat successful.
All right, so now we have heard from our guests. Let's hear from our other student body.
How would you describe your dating experience in PolyU so far?
Complicated.
Just like the book, 0.
I'm a player.
So I've heard some successes and some failures. And I wonder, does this have to do with knowing your ideal type of person and also knowing what others are seeking? So based on our campus survey, we found out that the 3 most desirable qualities by our student body is first, humorous, second is kind-hearted and caring, and in third place is physically attractive. So I want to know your guys' opinion on this. Do you think people are being honest about this data?
Well, maybe both. I mean, I haven't had much experience, but I do think that it has the elements of both. I would say, personally, I'm looking for a strong opinionated woman. Obviously fit, humor. Shut up.
Continue.
Maybe a little mean sometimes. Can berate me a little bit. You know, if I stumble, she needs to show me the way. Not in that way, but yeah. What about you, Kate?
I would say that for the whole PolyU, I would just say that people are not looking for a relationship. Sometimes they just look for romance and company. They want to have something warm with themselves, but they don't want to put an actual effort in it. And for my personal, I would prefer a tall person. I'm so sorry for the stereotypes, but I'm tall myself, and I get admired.
Cyres.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
It's not personal.
It's okay, I understand. My turn? So, I would say I'm looking for someone who's more emotionally mature and knows what they want from the start, because I'm not trying to play any games. Yeah.
Any
Second.
games?
No games, just real stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But what about a little playfulness, you know?
That's
Once in a while.
we can have that, but it's the long-term game, not the short-term. Like,
Oh,
I don't know what
playing
I want.
with you. Leading you on. That's
Yeah, that's exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Okay, so now let's switch from desires to denials. Why do you think so many people at PolyU are not looking for what they want in terms of relationships?
So, that is a quite complex question, but again, to go personally, I do think that there isn't a medium that allows us to, meet up with as many people as we would, maybe in another college. I do think that my daily circle is quite small, and even though I try to go to different events, different clubs, go out and explore, do some things, I still do think that PolyU is quite constricted on that field. So I do think that, again, compared to others, we are lacking like a common space, I would say.
I will have a comment on this. PolyU is not required to give you the date. It's a university, not a dating app, and it was not made for it.
Well, if the university wants us to develop interpersonal skills, which does also entail romantic relationship, you cannot escape. We are adults now. I mean, my mama is already asking for grandkids, and
So early.
well, depends on the country, depends on the
Fair,
culture.
fair.
And that's why I think PolyU obviously is not fully on relationships, but a common space that anybody can just go, have a nice chat, play a little games. I do think that would also improve our chances in dating life as well.
But we have this common space. For example, still, there are lots of board games that you can play, and moreover, there are lots of canteens and cafes that look nice. For example, Pacific Coffee or the cafe in Design Building. I think it's also nice for interpersonal communication. And
Maybe you're just lazy, Dora.
me also.
Well, I mean, I don't really think I am. People who know me, talking to you guys in the cameras, I do think that I put myself out there, and maybe it's just luck or unluckiness, to put that way.
Or maybe you're not in the right market?
Maybe that too. I come from a totally different culture, as I'm sure everybody does here. Maybe it's just not the right market. Yeah, that may be true, Mary. Thank you.
All right. And I think there are some dating services by companies at Hong Kong that match students from different schools. And that could be something people can explore. Okay, so I see you're all dressed nicely today, right? Is this what you will wear on your first date? Can you tell us about your OOTD?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I like to have like a semi-formal setting. So maybe like a nice shirt, you don't need a bow and tie. Some jeans, some blue jeans is, I would say, enough. Because I do think that it should be a kind of a formal setting. But obviously, we're trying to roll off from the friend vibes. And in that sense, I don't think having a really serious setting would help ease off the situation, because we are still shy. So,
Cyres, you will just wear the black sportwear?
I'm more sporty, so I would just. This is more comfortable for me, so I just chose to be more myself. If this was a first date, I would be more myself.
Yeah, I would agree with him, because you need to wear something that actually represents you in terms of a. That's why it's like brown.
who said this doesn't represent me? Like, what?
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Just something you're comfortable in,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Then more than fine.
And okay, so let's say you're on the first date. What would be some green flags and red flags that you are looking for in the potential partner? Let's start with some green flags.
For me, the biggest green flag is actually time management. When the partner is on time and he puts me in the priority, even though we all have busy schedules, especially with the secondary majors, as we all are here. So we know what it's like to manage the time, actually. And if the partner is late, of course there are like some reasons behind this.
I was late today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was late as well.
Yeah.
You were more late than me.
That's why we're not dating, guys.
I'm dating. I'm dating.
Okay.
Cyres, what about you?
I would say I want someone who's emotionally healthy. So, for example, if let's say wine gets spilled on her clothes, and how she reacts to it will tell me a lot about the person. So, I would prefer someone who's like emotionally stable, if that's the right word. Yeah, just can handle a situation under pressure.
Yeah, maybe personally, like a person who's actually interested in the person sitting in front of it, which is me. So if she actually asks me questions that shows interest in me. Other than that, if I see any like flame, any passion in her eyes when she's talking about something, I do think that having passion in your life in any kind of way, that could be a sport, that could be your major, that could be your family, anything, I would say is quite important. And if I catch that flame somehow, that shows me that, you know, she has she doesn't have an egregious personality, and I can actually see myself with that someday.
So what is your passion?
My passion is space. You know, I was a little rocket kid, wanted to be an astronaut, trying to do that right now. I'm going to the gym. That's what I'm really passionate about. I'm skateboarding, so I have a lot of passions, and I would like someone that has a variety of different passions as well.
So it's like a lot of hobbies.
Well, who said it's a hobby?
Well, going to the gym sounds like hobby.
I mean, it
life.
can be a hobby as well. It's my life.
Sorry. Sorry.
Exactly.
Different
Like, what do you
settings.
do? What passions you have?
I do read lots of books, and I'm passionate about it, I would say. Moreover, I sometimes draw, but I do not do it as regular as I did before, because I was kicked out of a painting school in Russia.
Oh, like that
Yeah.
Austrian guy?
Yes. No,
Oh.
but he was not accepted, right?
Oh yeah,
And I was
true.
I was kicked out, so
True.
a bit different.
Okay, so what about some red flags?
Yeah, what about red flag Cyrus?
Cyrus?
Someone. You know how you go out of the house, like you leave the house and you come back, you need to change clothes. Like you cannot lay on your bed with outside clothes. I cannot handle that.
You're just a weird germophobic, like, come on.
Yeah.
I am quite germophobic, if that's how you want to describe me. So yeah, I would say that.
But how your clothes get dirty outside?
Outside air, like there's construction
Air?
outside,
Okay.
like construction, dust. People might sneeze or bump into you on the street. You don't know what other people
But
have.
do you open windows in your house?
Not all the time, no.
Okay, but it's
Yeah.
also like, you know, outside air.
That's a bit different because my room is clean.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so no dirty clothes in the love bed.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
Okay. Dora, what's about your red flags?
Okay, my thing is quite specific, right? So when I'm about to pay, right? I'm obviously gonna pay, you know. But the thing is, when I'm about to pay, she shows off her wallet. She shows off her purse, right? Like she's about to offer as well. Even though, like, I am still gonna pay, that little gesture still matters, because that means that she is not expecting me to fully pay everything, right? Because obviously, guys, we're living in the 21st century, you know,
Hong Kong
equal
as well.
rights in Hong Kong as well. So, but I still do think that us men have that duty to, you know, take care of the person. But I would still appreciate that little gesture, you know, show something. Yeah, what about you, Kate? Huh? Any red flags?
Of course, I do have them.
my- Of
Of
Lots
course
of
you
them.
do. Of course
Here we
you do.
go.
So one of the biggest red flags for me, I would say that it's being a youngest child in a family. You know, when it's the youngest kid, because it's always spoiled. And being spoiled is not a bad thing. But being irresponsible, it's a bad thing. And this is what just drives me off, because I'm myself the oldest child in the family. I have a younger sister. And I do take care of her, and I do take care of her for the long period of time. So I know how to do anything in my house. But if the person does not,
If she doesn't contribute around the house, it's difficult.
ooh, but I'm talking about the man, right?
I mean, you're
Yeah,
talking about your
yeah,
sister,
yeah.
so she.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, it's just the way you're thinking, because you always, the youngest child, they always think that someone will take care of them. And
Not
they're
really.
What about the only child?
Oh, that's
I
that's
grew
even
up-
worse.
Yeah, that's actually even worse.
Yes, because all the attention is always attracted to the same kid for his whole life.
Mhm.
I'm not able to give that much attention.
Okay.
Facts.
All right. And we've heard some interesting opinions, but I wonder, is there still something left in your secret closet that you want to tell people? Like a story of a past love, or some tips about finding campus romance, or your best pickup line?
I mean, Cyres, you have a lot of successful, conclusions. Maybe you would like to tell some.
I would say ask the difficult questions early. Yeah, like do you change clothes before getting on the bed?
Jesus Christ.
The hardest
Alright.
question.
That's a hard question. You gotta ask these difficult questions early to understand someone's priorities.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyone else?
Well, I can say that, when you're on a date, you're trying to get over that touch barrier. For people who doesn't know, the touch barrier is something you need to get over in your first date. It shows intimacy, slowly and steady. You gotta raise that bar up so that you become comfortable with the person next to you. And like, if you just completely blow that off, and then at the end of the day, you suddenly try kissing the girl, obviously she's gonna like push you away and like call you a pervert. Obviously, I'm not saying that I was called a pervert and I was slapped, but
You sure about that?
you should.
I'm joking.
Yeah, hey,
I'm
hey,
joking.
hey,
I'm
hey.
joking. I'm joking.
But as I'm saying, you shouldn't do that. Slowly. Maybe a little footsie under the table on the date.
Feet?
No,
Oh my God.
no, but little touches. Little elbow brushes, and then slowly you can ramp up. Yeah,
Okay.
guys, listen to me carefully, okay?
And for the tips, I do have one. Since we have overseas students podcast, it's really hard to date internationally because you all have different culture and you don't know what to expect from other person, and you also have your own stereotypes inside the head. So I would suggest to remember about this, to just appreciate others and appreciate yourself also.
Yeah, especially I would say our tomorrow's leaders class, guys. Cultural competence, quite important.
Oh my goodness.
All right. Okay, so we're coming to the end of our very interesting, very juicy panel today. Thank you guys for checking us out in the Red Brick Rubicon, and thanks guests for coming.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Mary, for inviting us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yay!
It was quite fun.
Fate of stars
We'll see everyone on the other side.
never shine so